Out of curiosity, I looked at the save file. Eyeballing it, I could tell that he was pretty far in the game. He had almost all the masks, and 3/4 remained of the bosses. I noticed that he had used an owl statue to save this game. He was on day 3 in by the Stone Tower Temple, with hardly an hour before the moon would crash. I remember thinking that it was such a shame that he had come so close to beating the game, but he never finished it. I made a new file named Link out of tradition and started the game, ready to relive my childhood. For such a shady-looking game cartridge, I was impressed by how smoothly it ran, literally, just like a retail copy of the game, save for a few minor hiccups here and there. However, the only thing that was a little unnerving was that all the times the NPCs would call me Link, and at other times they would call me Ben. I figured it was just a bug, a fluke in the programming caused our files to get mixed up or something. It did kind of creep me out, though, after a while. And it was around after I beaten the Woodfall Temple that I regrettably went to save files and deleted Ben. I intended to preserve the file out of respect for the game's original owner. It's not like I needed 2 files anyways. Hoping that would solve the problem there. It did, and it didn't. Now NPCs wouldn't call me anything. Where my name should be in the dialogue, there was just a blank space. Frustrated and with homework to do, I put down the game for the day. I started playing the game again last night, gaining the lens of truth and working my way towards completing the Snowhead Temple. Now, for some of you hardcore Majora's Mask players, I know about the 4th day glitch. For those of you who can Google it, but the gist of it is that right as the clock is about to hit 0 on the final day, you talk to the astronomer and look through the telescope. If you time it just right, the countdown disappears, and you essentially have another day to finish whatever you're doing. Deciding to do the glitch to try it and finish the Snowhead Temple, I happened to get it right on the first try, and the time counter at the bottom disappeared. However, when I pressed B to exit the telescope, instead of being greeted by the astronomer, I found myself in the Majora's boss fight room at the end of the game. The trippy boxing arena, staring at Skull Kid hovering above me. There was no sound, just him floating in the air above me, and the background music which was regular for the area, but still creepy. Immediately my palms began to sweat. This was definitely not normal. Skull Kid never appeared here. I tried moving around the area, and no matter where I went, Skull Kid would always be facing me, looking at me, not saying a thing. Nothing would happen though. And this kept up for about 60 seconds, and I thought the game had been bugged or something. But I was beginning to doubt that very much. I was about to reach the reset button when a text appeared on my screen. You're not sure why, but you had apparently had a reservation, and instantly recognized that text. You get that message when you get to the room key from Anju at the Stockpot Inn. But why was it playing here? I refused to entertain the notion that it was almost as if the game was trying to communicate with me. I started navigating the room again, testing it to see if it was some sort of trigger that enabled me to interact with something here. Then I realized how stupid I was. To even think that someone would reprogram the game like this was absurd. Sure enough, 15 seconds later, another message appeared on the screen. And again, like the first one, it was already a pre-existing phrase. Go to the lair of the temple's boss? Yes or no? I paused for a second, contemplating what I should press, and how the game would react. When I realized that I couldn't select no, taking a deep breath, I pressed yes, and the screen faded to white, with the words Dawn of a New Day, with a subtext I beneath it, where I was ported to fill me with the most intense sense of dread and impending fear I have ever experienced. The only way I could describe the way I felt here is having this feeling of inexplicable depression on a profound scale. I'm normally not a depressed person, but the way I felt here was a feeling that I didn't know existed. It was such a twisted, powerful presence that seemed to wash over me. I appeared in some kind of weird Twilight Zone version of Clock Town. I walked out of the clock tower, as you normally do when you start from day one, only to find that all of the inhabitants were gone. Usually, with the fourth day glitch, you can still find the guards and the dog that runs around outside the tower. This time, they were all gone. What replaced them was an ominous feeling that there was something out there, in the same area as me, that it was watching me. I had 4 hearts to my name and the hero's bow, but at this point, I wasn't even considered for my avatar. I felt that I personally was in some kind of danger. Perhaps the most chilling was the music. It was a song of healing, ripped straight from the game itself, but played in reverse. The music would get louder, building up so as if you should expect something to pop out at you. But nothing ever did, and the constant loop began to wear on my mental state. Every now and then I should hear the faint laugh of the Happy Mask salesman in the background, just quiet enough so I wasn't sure if I was just hearing things, but just loud enough to keep me determined to find him. I looked in all 4 zones of Clocktown, only to find nothing. No one. Textures were missing. West Clocktown had me walking on air. The entire area felt broken. Hopelessly broken. As the reverse song of healing repeated for what must have been the 50th time, I just remembered standing in the middle of South Clocktown, realizing that I had never felt so alone in the video game before. As I walked down the ghost town, I don't know whether it was the combination of the out-of-place textures and the atmosphere and the haunting melody of the once peaceful and soothing song being butchered and distorted. I was literally on the verge of tears, and I had no idea why. I hardly ever cry. Something had gripped me there, and this powerful sense of depression that was both foreign and crippling. I tried leaving Clocktown, but every time I attempted to zone out, the screen would just fade to black, and I would just zone into another part of Clocktown. I tried playing my ocarina. I wanted to escape. I did not want to be here, but every time I played the Song of Time or the Song of Soaring, it would say, "Your notes echo far, but nothing happens." By this point, it was obvious the game didn't want me to leave. But I had no idea why it was keeping me here. I just want to go inside the buildings. I felt that I would be too vulnerable there to whatever I was terrified of. I don't know why, but I came up with the idea that maybe if I drowned myself in the laundry pool, I could spawn somewhere else and leave this place. As I zoned in and ran towards the pool, that's what happened. Link grabbed his head and the screen flashed for a brief moment and the Happy Mask salesman smiling at me. Not Link, maybe it was Skull Kid's scream playing in the background. And when the scream returned, I was staring at Link's statue from the playing of the song of Elegy of Emptiness. I screamed as the thing just stared back at me with that haunting facial expression. I turned around and ran out into South Clocktown. And to more horror of the statue followed me, and the only way I can compare it to this is like the weeping angels from Doctor Who. Every so often, at random intervals, the animation would play of the statue appearing behind me. It was like the thing was chasing me, or I don't even want to say it, but haunting me.